we are looking at lesson 2-3 in our Glencoe Course 2 math book, and it is on the percent proportion. So when we are finding a percentage of a number, we multiply that percent as a decimal and multiply it by our quantity, correct? Okay. Well, what if we were given two quantities and we had to find what percent that was of something else? We can't multiply like that. So instead, what we're going to do, we're going to find the percent proportion, okay? And it looks like this. We have 3 parts in a proportion. We have a percent, we have a part, and we have a whole, okay? In your work zone section on the left-hand side, I want you to write this down. So we have the part, we have the whole, we have the percent, over 100. A percent means per 100 or out of 100, so this 100 is always going to be 100. Okay? That's always going to be 100. But the part, the whole, and the percent can change. I want to use variables to represent these terms because writing out words all the time gets really, really old really fast. So I'm going to use the word P for part. I'm going to use the variable W for whole. I'm going to use the variable N for percent over 100. So P represents the part, W represents the whole, N represents our percent, and 100 stays the same. So this means that no matter what information we're given, we can find what we're looking for. Okay? And there's a summary of that at the top of page 122. Underneath the pink where it says use the percent proportion, it summarizes that for us there. Okay? If we have 2 of these 3 words, if we have the part and the whole, we can find the percent. If we have the part and the percent, we can find the whole. If we have the whole and the percent, we can find the part. So as long as we have 2 pieces of information, we can find the third when we have this proportion set up. Let's look at an example. Example 1 says, what percent of $15 is $9? So, we have the part, which is $9. We have the whole, which is $15. We want to know what percent that is out of 100. Nine is part of 15, and we want to know what percentage that is. We want to know what that percent is. What is 9? What percent gives us 9 out of 15? So to do this, we're going to cross multiply. That means we're going to draw in some butterfly wings. 9 times 100 equals 15 times x. It does not matter which numbers you put first, as long as you put the correct numbers on the right side of the equal sign. Okay? So what goes on which side of the equal sign has to stay together. Other than that, it doesn't matter. 9 times 100 is 900. 15 times x is 15x. Then, I have to get x by itself. That's what I'm solving for. So I divide both sides by 15. And that should be 60. I'm going to double check it in my calculator. Okay, 900 divided by 15 is 60. that means that $9 is 60% of $15. That's what that means. What questions do we have? How many of us remember our proportions from chapter 1? Okay? So we're going to get a little bit more practice with those in this lesson, because we cannot find that relationship without using a proportion. Okay? Any other questions? Are we ready to look at another example, or do we need a second to write this one down? We need another second? Okay. If we look at our standards, we're looking at standard 7.RP3, that is using ratios and proportions to be able to use percentages to understand situations involving money. So the majority of what we work with when we're doing this is going to involve money in some way. Everybody likes money. We all wish that we had a little bit more of it than what we do. And we all wish that we can, when we buy things, that it would cost a little less than what it does. Okay? But all of these things are going to help us in the real world, because in the real world we cannot avoid using money. We have to use money. Okay? Alright, questions? Are we ready for example 2? Fantastic. Hold on. Let's look at example 2. It's on page 123. In example 2, it says, what number is 40% of 120? So, what are we given? We're given the percentage of 40%. That's 40 over 100. We want to know what number is 40% of 120. So it gives us the whole, we're looking for the part. It gave us the whole, we're looking for the part. When solving my proportion, what's the first thing that I'm going to do? What's the first thing that I'm going to do? Yes, ma'am? Cross multiply. And to do that, I'm going to draw on my butterfly wings. If you don't want to use butterfly wings, you don't have to. But that, when we cross multiply, we have 120 times 40 being equal to P times 100. 120 times 40 is going to be 4,800. How did I get that without using a calculator? What? Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very good. So you can either go 0 times 0 and have the extra 0 there, and then 4 times 0, 4 times 2, 4 times 1, or I took 12 times 4 and I know that's 48 and I added 2 zeros. Either way. Or you can use your handy dandy calculator. P times 100 is written as 100p because we write our number before the variable when we write them connected like that. What do I need to do next? How do I get P all by itself? Yes.
Divide by 100.
Right, I'm going to divide both sides by 100. Why did I divide both sides by 100? P doesn't equal 100, but the P is attached to the 100. Does that make sense? Okay. We have to get rid of, by dividing, this number that's attached to our variable. Because this says that I have 100 parts. I want to know what one part is equal to. So I'm going to divide by 100. 4,800 divided by 100. I've got 2 zeros that cancel out and 2 zeros that cancel out. I'm left with 48 over 1. What is 48 over 1 written as a whole number?
48.
48. So, let's look back at the context of the problem. In the example, it said, what number is 40% of 120? So what do I put in that spot where it says what number? What?
48.
So, this means that 48 is 40% of 120. $48 is 40% of 120. Does that pass my common sense test? Yes? Why? How do we know? Go ahead. What do you think? What? So it passes a common sense test because I did it and I showed my work. Okay? I have been known to intentionally make mistakes that are common to show you where those mistakes might be so that we do not make them again. That does pass a common sense test. Why? What are we looking for? Because we're looking for 40% of 120. So should we have about half of 120? Should we have did a bitty bit of 120? Should we have more than 120? Where should our answer fall?
102. No, like less than that.
Less than what? Should be less than 120. Very good. Should we have about half? Should we have 3/4 of what? Where should our answer fall between 0 and 120? Yes.
It should be a little bit less than half.
A little bit less than half. Half of 120 is 60. Is 48 a little bit less than 60? So then does our answer make sense? Yes. Okay, very good. Let's do one more example. Does anybody have any questions about this one before we move on? No? Easy peasy? Fantastic. Let's erase this one and let's look at example 3. Can someone please read example 3 for me? Nobody wants to read today? What? Okay, I can read it. It's your choice whether or not you want to be heard. Example 3 says 18 is 25% of what number? 18 is 25% of what number? So 18, is that the part, the whole, or the percentage? We say 18 is 25% of what number? Does 18 represent the part, the whole, or the percent? The part. Very good. So 18 is going to go here. We have 2 spots left. 25%. Is that our whole or is that our percent? Percent. Do I write 25% here?
No, just 25.
Just 25. Why do I write 25 and not 25%?
Because there's 100.
Right, because the 100 is already here. And that percent sign means per 100. Okay? So then what are we looking for in this problem? The whole. What do I need to do first to find my whole in this problem?
Cross multiply.
We're going to cross multiply. Okay, that means that I have what? What do I need to write here on this line? Yes? 18 times 100. That equals what?
1800.
Okay. What goes on the other side of my equal sign? 100W?
25W.
25W. How did I get 25W?
Because there's no answer for
Hold on. What? What did I multiply together to get 25W? How did I get from this to 25W? Alright, so I took 25 times W. Okay? So you guys gave me line 1 and line 2 at the same time. What do I do from here to get W by itself? Because W doesn't like having 25 of itself, it likes to be alone. I divide by what?
25.
I divide by 25. Why am I dividing by 25? What's the 25 attached to? The W. What am I trying to get by itself? Right. I want to get the W by itself, correct? Okay. So to get the W by itself, I have to divide by whatever is attached to it. And right now there's a 25 attached to it. So that's what we're going to divide by. 1,800 divided by 25 is what?
72.
72? That equals W because my 25's cancel. Alright. What does this mean in the context of the problem? The example, as it was written, said what number is 40% of 120? I'm sorry, we're looking at example 3. Example 3 says 18 is 25% of what number? So, how do I write that as a statement that includes our answer? Yes, sir.
18 is 25% of 72.
Very good. 18 is 25% of 72. Fantastic. Do we have questions? In our 3 examples, we found the P, the W, and the N. Okay? So we found each of the 3 variables. Once we put our information into the proportion, did we solve it any differently? Did the way that we solved the problem, did that change?
No.
No. So does it matter where our variable is in our proportion? No. Once we have our proportion, we're going to cross multiply. We're going to simplify each side of the equation. We're going to divide by the value attached to the variable. Okay? So those are our 3 steps once we set up our proportion. When we were setting up our proportion, I started with this, correct? To use as a reference. Then what did I do? How did I figure out what went where? Did I just kind of guess? No. I filled in the information that I knew, and I kept my variable last. Okay? So what do you think you should do as you're working through practice? Put the information that you're given into the proportion, and then see what you're asked to solve. Okay? See what you're asked to solve. Because it's not going to say, find the whole when this is the part and this is the percent. It's not going to say that, is it? Nope. And it's not going to say, find the part when this is the whole and this is your percent. It's not going to say that, is it? No. So, just like we read through and we filled in the information that we knew, that's what you need to do. What questions do we have? Alright, today you're going to work on pages 125 and 126. Completing numbers 2 through 10, 14, and 15. 2 through 10, 14, and 15. That's on pages 125 and 126. Thank you very much.